Hi, my name's Nick and welcome to the Painter's Mess. So in today's video, I'm going to go over I'm going to review AK Interactive's real color markers. I don't know how many are in this box. I think it's like 20, a variety of different colors. And I got to test them out at Adepticon at their little vendor, in the vendor hall, at their little demo booth. And I really liked the metal color that I got to use on a piece of terrain. So I just did the trim of a piece of terrain that took me like, I don't know, 20 seconds. I mentioned it in my other video. It actually really worked and I was really impressed on how it performed. So I really wanted to try and see how the other colors perform. And yeah, let's go make a mess and see how these things work. So they're not sponsoring this video. Hey, AK Interactive, if you want to, and send me more things to try out, I would love to do that. So sponsors are cool. Please sponsor small YouTubers on fun things, because I like stuff. I like to try things. Yeah, let's go make a mess. So this is at 2x speed, so it is going to look a little faster, but realistically that's just because otherwise this is like a 45-minute video. But these are the AK Interactive real color markers that I bought at Adepticon, and they were previewing them at their vendor spot, where you could just take a piece of terrain or take a model and start like trying to use them and see how they work. So this box set is $100. And they are in no way, shape, or form sponsoring this video. I just bought this box set because I was really excited about the metal colors, and I wanted to see how they would work on terrain, because I tested terrain there and I thought it was amazing. So I have a bunch of different little boxes from the Kill Team set, the old Kill Team set, that I'm just gonna test these on, and I primed them in different colors. This one's obviously green, using the Army Painter camo green, or whatever color green it is, aerosol spray. And I did a couple in black, I did a couple in lead belcher, and then I did a couple with a tan, which I didn't actually put in this video, but right now just the black, the lead belcher, and then this green are in this video. So as you can see, like I said, this is 2x speed, but this is very fast, and it was very easy. It was like using markers on a coloring book, basically a three-dimensional coloring book, and it really was not that difficult. They are wet, so it is paint. It's acrylic paint that has to dry, so you can smudge it if you touch it while it's still wet. You can also leave fingerprints still, so like that doesn't change. But overall, like that took me maybe 2 to 3 minutes to do, not even, just to do that one single box, and then I can always go back and touch it up. So like I said, it's very quick and very easy, and there is a whole lot of different colors in this box set, and as we go through, you're gonna see me use a variety of different ones. And from my experience, because I'm recording this over top of the video itself, not live as if I was using it, the darker colors definitely work better than the lighter colors, but that's also just because they are more opaque than the lighter colors, and a couple layers gets a pretty good like finish, and it is a matte finish, which I really appreciate, because I like the matte finish more than like a satin or gloss finish. So right now I'm using the chipping marker, chipping brown color is what it's called, chipping color, and I'm just kind of dabbing it around the box. And I'm also going to use some red brown or warm brown with an actual like chipping brush, which is really just a piece of foam inside of a hollow tube. In my opinion, the chipping marker is not bad. It's actually really good to do on vehicles, because I tested it with one of my Death Guard Scorpii vehicles, and I thought it looked really good, at least just like on the edges of the hard edges. So but within a flat panel, it doesn't really look great in my opinion, just because the chipping isn't it's not unique. It's very uniform. It's very, if you push too hard, because you have to very lightly touch the paint, the tip to the paint that you're trying to chip on. If you go too hard, it puts a blob there. So it's really, really, really faint, and you have to be very, very specific. And I wouldn't say that that's the best on a flat surface, but definitely on a hard edge, it was actually really convenient. So this box to me is pretty much done. There's chipping on it. There's I tested the silver on it, so I'm just going to throw some Airbrush Earthshade on it and then leave it at that. I'll go back and highlight some of the edges with maybe like a brighter silver, but I'll probably just use a brush on that. But other than that, like the end result of the box itself looks really good. It's for what it is. It's a little small piece of terrain, accessory for whatever table you're going to be playing on. So this next one, I'm gonna do the silver again on it. There are 3 different silvers in the box set. There's the gunmetal, there's like a dark aluminum, and then a bright aluminum. I prefer the gunmetal personally. I didn't really try the dark aluminum, but that doesn't mean I'm not gonna try it later. But also, I just like the darkness. Like it's not too dark, and it's not too bright. So it's a solid, like lead belcher color for the metal. And like you can see here, this is very quick. It is literally coloring in the lines. And what I come to find out later is that green color is another marker in the list, or at least very close. So I can touch up that same green later on if I need to. Now it is slightly different, but it is pretty close, especially when it goes on wet. But when it dries, it's slightly different. But something small like this is super easy to touch up with overspills. And I was about to use the aluminum, but I decided not to, just because it was probably still wet. So that is why I pulled that aluminum out and then put it back. So these next set of little pieces of accessory terrain, again, 2 more crates and a barrel, and they have been sprayed with lead belcher. So they are slightly different from the green, and I wanted to see how the marker went over on the lead belcher. Now this is the one that's just labeled brown, and I would say that it is somewhat brown, but it's definitely more of a tan, like a red tan. Something about these markers, as you can see that I go through, is it takes probably about 2 layers for the lighter ones for like full opacity, which is similar to if you're using a paintbrush. But one thing that the paintbrush has on these markers, especially when it comes to rounded surfaces, is that it contours to the surface. These markers don't really do that, and you can see that I'll do a line on the bottom towards the edge of the metal, and then I'll scribble in between, and then I'll do that again, because just going over the flat surfaces, the curve of the flat surface is not really good for these markers. These markers don't really do well on that. I think a brush does better. And from what I had heard, being around the booth and from some of my friends who had talked to some of the people at the booth, they are going to make a water, almost like a brush tip, and I think that would help, especially with the curve of like a cylinder, and it'll definitely make that painting a little easier. Next is just this bright blue. I wanted to see, there's a couple blues in here that I wanted to test out to see if they would fit well with my scheme for my Zone Mortalis stuff that I'm going to be painting up here soon. This blue is a little bit too bright for me, but a good wash and maybe a little bit more effort and work on this ammo crate would fit in just fine. But overall, the blue, because it's such a dark color over a bright color, it was pretty opaque right away. I don't think I ended up putting on 2 layers, and if I did later on in the video, it wasn't because I really needed to. It was just because I just wanted a full 100% full opacity. But other than that, it's very quick. And something else to note with these markers is it's very similar to a brush, where wherever you end the marker when you're pulling it is where the most of the pigment's going to sit. So especially when you're like doing the edges of, or in between the edges and the flat panels, you have to be really careful on where you end your pull. The darker colors aren't as bad because of the opaqueness of the paint, but the lighter colors are definitely very noticeable. And then I grabbed a different brown to see if, actually that is the same one for that. So it's not really brown, but I do open up the pack and I grab another brown that is supposed to be, in my opinion, a little bit darker red. And I start going over that, and you can see I'm testing it on my thumb. It's really not as dark as I would want it to be. So I take the chipping brown and I start going over the same kind of curve, the cylinder, the tank, whatever you want to call it, trash can, I don't know, oil barrel, with the other brown color. And this is the chipping brown. Now I think that the chipping brown does much better as a chipping brown than it does as a like a red brown for covering up or painting a piece of terrain or something like that. It's not really as red as you would hope it would be. It's kind of like a desaturated red brown, if anything. I think the closest one would be maybe like red gray from Pro Acryl, or maybe dark umber, but it's not really the red like Rhinox hide brown that you probably were hoping for. So as of right now, I'm just pulling out some more Agrex or shade, added a little bit of water just so I could darken the blue, and I think definitely turns out a lot better with it being a little darker, and it fits more of kind of the scheme that I'm going for. But of course, you know, I drop it, it's wet, and make a little bit of mess, because that's what we're here for. Something I will say is that these markers dry pretty quickly. They dry within, you know, a minute or two, kind of just like a really thin layer of paint. So you don't have to worry about waiting too long if you utilize them, but they definitely, immediately you could smudge it if you put your thumb into it, but realistically, set it aside, let it dry for a minute or two, just like you're doing anything else with acrylic paint, and it goes pretty quick and it dries pretty fast. So here's another red, and it looks more red on the marker description than it actually is. This is more of like a salmon red, It says signal red, which to me is, I imagine it would be, you know, a little bit brighter. This is more like safety cone red, almost. Not quite orange, but maybe like a safety cone that's been sitting out in the sun too long and it kind of lost some of its shine and color. But again, the same issue with everything else. The lighter the colors, the less opaque they are. So you definitely would need 2 layers of this. And I'm even going over darker layers and different layers to see if there's any, you know, change in how the color shows, and it really doesn't change too much. It's pretty opaque even after a layer or 2 of the one color. So sorry about the gaps in between me grabbing different colors or different pieces of terrain, stuff like that. I'm just opening up the case because it's sitting on my lap out of the screen and then grabbing a different one. So okay, I just realized that I made a mistake. This is the signal red, which is more like the safety cone. The other one was another red, but it actually wasn't as red as I wanted it to be. It was more salmon, more pink. This is like bright safety cone red, and I don't really feel like going back and changing how I recorded it, so we're just gonna leave it at that. I made a mistake, and here's the right bright safety cone red, and you can tell by the marker that that's the right color. But it is bright. It's almost neon like, and I will definitely be painting over this one because I don't really care for that color. So here are the 2 that I wasn't actually quite fond of, and I just think because of just how they turned out, they just don't really look well. They don't look good. So putting them to the side just so you can take a look at it. And here's that green that you can see matches really closely to what's already there. And what I realized is it matched very well wet, but it doesn't match 100% dry. Which is fine. It's really close. It's just when it dries, it's just a slightly darker, and I'll have to finish that up later. But noticing that it does match really well, I do take that marker and I write on the aerosol can of the Army Painter can that I have, and I just write on it just so I can remember that these 2 are very similar in color, and I just write on the cap, and you'll see me do it in the video here in a second. But I do it just because they're similar in color, and if I need to go back and make any adjustments, any changes, anything like that, I can just go back and do that with that marker really quickly, which is really convenient as long as it's not like a huge piece of terrain or a huge piece of, I don't know, a model or something like that. Like I said, that dried pretty quickly, and they dry really fast. I do go over 3 more colors throughout this video. The remainder of this video. One's a dark blue, kind of like Mechanicum Standard Gray. One is a and they're all based on off of the black pieces that I sprayed. One is more of a white color or like a light blue color. Now you do that one on the oil barrel, and then this one's like almost a green gray, and I'm very fond of the dark blue and the green gray. The light blue doesn't really show up very well. Maybe with a couple layers it would, but at least over black, which light colors over black is never going to give you full opacity. You have to do at least a couple rounds. It doesn't, the first initial just look at it doesn't really do it for me. So I will probably be painting over that. But this color that I'm currently using, this like green, light green gray color, is actually really cool, and I like how it matches. So, I mean, overall, I'm just gonna kind of give my final thoughts while you guys watch me paint here, or color with a marker. I think overall these markers are pretty cool. I don't know if I would say that the $100 box set is worth to buy all of those colored markers. There are some that are very close in color that you could get away with just painting with, or finding their equivalent with acrylic paint and doing that. I think using a felt tip marker is probably a very niche like instance that you would use it, definitely with terrain, but I don't think you would really use it for miniatures unless you're doing like a large panel or like a shoulder pauldron or like a kneecap or something like that. There's really no reason to use markers. You're better off using thin down acrylic paint, but I do feel that these markers have a place somewhere in this hobby, and I think it's definitely apparent with terrain, and especially when it comes to doing the metal edges of terrain, like these crates or like a large piece of terrain. So I do plan on using these in a future video with my Zone Mortalis box, the Ruined Zone Mortalis box set that I picked up from Adepticon, because I really do feel that these will benefit that piece of terrain in some way, shape, or form. So I might use a couple of them. Again, I don't know if the whole box set is worth the whole thing, but it's, to each their own. If you think that it might be, it might be. But I would absolutely recommend doing some of the picking up some of the individual markers, because they can definitely be very beneficial in the future. One thing that I noticed that this box set is missing is we have aluminum, we have a dark gunmetal color, but we don't have any brass and we don't have any gold. And I think that both of those things are missing from this box set, and I'd have to go online and check to see if those are available as markers, but if they are, I will definitely be picking up like a dark bronze to do a lot of the bronze stuff that I do anyway, because I like bronze, I don't like bright gold, and I like the dark metals. So I think that those markers are missing from this set, but I do believe that they would definitely be beneficial to have in the future. So overall, I do really think that this is a pretty good box, and it's definitely it can definitely be worth it if you plan on doing all of those colors. But other than that, I don't know if it's worth buying the whole set. I think the idea is great. I think it's actually a really good tool to have in the hobby, but I don't know if I would do it again if I had the opportunity. But I would definitely buy individual markers and utilize them, because I think that it does have a place in this hobby. So yeah, let me know what you think just from this video and my thoughts on it. Now, I spent about 45 minutes. Like I said, this video is sped up to 2 times speed, so you're getting pretty much almost the whole thing, but it's just slightly faster. But I spent about 45 minutes playing with these markers and playing with the different colors, and you've seen me do all of the colors that I tested out. So let me know what you guys think down below. I would love to hear about it. Do you plan on picking any of them up? Because yeah, they are beneficial, and they might have gotten you if you had gone to Adepticon, or if you saw them online, or got notified from AK that they have these things out, but these new tools out. But yeah, let me know if you plan on picking them up. Let me know if your thoughts on my reaction to them and how I use them. And yeah, until the next time. Oh yeah, before we do all of the end stuff, if you like this video, comment, subscribe, like the video, please. It does benefit the channel, and it allows me to continue to make videos and stuff like that. So I'm really feeling the terrain building and the terrain painting, especially after Adepticon. So if you like this kind of content and you want to see more, I will be making some more videos in the future. Share it with your friends, and until the next time, go make a mess and have a great day.